So we're going to be pre-tripping a truck and a trailer this morning here, and we'll go over all the DOT details of what is required for a proper pre-trip on a truck and on a trailer. And so the first we would do is approach the truck. We would open the hood, which we've already opened. We'll come in and visually check suspension parts. We'll inspect for any oil or fuel leaks or antifreeze leaks. If all of that looks good and our fluid level there looks good, we'll then check the oil. Make sure our oil is all good. A very key important part. Make sure the oil is full, which this one has 2 marks on it, which the full mark is actually there. It is not the mark on the top. A lot of people will confuse that and overfill and consume a lot of oil. Once that's determined to be fine, we'll put that back in. Make sure it's locked and secure in place. The cap's on. We'll walk around and check the other side. There again, we'll check our antifreeze fluid levels. We'll check for any oil leaks or water leaks. There's no fuel on this side, so we don't have to worry about fuel, but we'll check, make sure our springs are good on our truck. Make sure our brakes apparatuses are all in place. Check the face of our tires, make sure they're fine. And that completes getting the engine compartment checked. We'll then close the hood on our truck. Latch our hood secure. Go around the same on the other side. A nice tool to have is a good hammer for checking tires. We'll walk around, do a visual, make sure our battery box is secure, make sure that all of our steps are not obstructed and in good shape. Visually check our airlines here real quick. Check our glass compartment. Then we'll walk back here to the back of the truck. We'll check our fifth wheel, make sure it's straight and clean and unlatched in a proper position. Check our locks, make sure the fifth wheel is locked so it doesn't move. And we'll check our tires. The easiest way to check a tire is with a hammer. They do make quite a different sound when they're flat or when they're full. These tires are both good. We'll check our lug nuts, make sure they're all in place and in good shape. Check our tires for any uneven wear. We'll then look back inside. We'll look and see if our brake compartment is clean and our brakes are where they're supposed to be and no oil leaks. That all looks fine on this one. We'll move back to the next axle. We'll do the same tire thump, which these tires are fine. Again, we'll check all the lug nuts on the wheel, make sure that there's no rust or bleeding, that they're tight. We'll then step around to the back of the trailer, or the truck, I'm sorry, and we'll look, make sure our tail lights are all in place, proper lights, that our airbags are in good shape. We'll then take a visual look down through the driveline components and make sure that they're good and straight. We'll then move around to the other side here. We'll check our brakes again, make sure that everything looks good, no oil leaks or oil seal leaks. We'll then hit each of these tires, which we actually have a low tire here. We'll write that one up that it needs to be repaired. We'll then check over here, make sure all of our lugs are tight. Before I forget here, we will do a quick one low tire. And that will be the right side, inside rear. We'll then move up to our next set of tires, check them. They're fine. Again, we'll do a quick visual of making sure the springs and brakes and everything are in good shape. Once again, we will look at all the lugs and everything on the wheel, make sure all of them are proper. We'll then move ahead. We'll look under the cab here a little bit. Look to make sure we have no oil leaking or antifreeze, or look for any exhaust leaks or anything that might cause a hazard. Everything here looks good. We'll move around. This truck only has one fuel tank. We'll check our fuel tank, make sure it's not leaking. We do always get a little bit of slobber out of a fuel tank. That is normal, but you do not want to see fuel running down. And that concludes the pre-trip of the truck. I don't just teach you how to drive, and you can just do that. We will then step into our truck. We'll check all of our gauges, our brake knobs, look for anything unsecure floating around in the cab that needs to be secured. We'll look at all of our instruments again, and then we'll turn the key on. Once the key is on, we'll make sure all the gauges function properly. Once they've all set and done what they're supposed to do, we'll then check the transmission, which this is an automatic in this truck. We can make sure it is in neutral, which it says it's in neutral. Then step on your brake, start your truck. We'll then double check to make sure your brakes are set. Let go of your brake pedal. Make sure all your air pressure and your oil pressure and everything is up where it's supposed to be. Most trucks between 100 and 120 psi on the air gauges is about what they're supposed to be. Check all of our other gauges, make sure they're all where they're supposed to be. We then will release the brakes. Leave the trailer applied, but release the truck brake. A common misconception on automatic slack adjusters for the brakes is that they self-adjust. They do self-adjust, but it does require 90 pounds of air pressure of application with your brake pedal to make them adjust. So every morning, once your air pressures are built up, you should release your brakes in your truck, put your brake pedal clear to the floor. Check your mirrors, make sure your mirrors work properly. See no visual cracks or anything. It's a good time to check your glass, make sure your glass is legal, that nobody threw a rock or anything hit it, and your windshield is clear. That's the inspection status of the inside of the truck.
Tug test.
Now check our glad hands, make sure that they're all secure and good, that our glad hand rubbers are in good shape. We'll also check to make sure that we have proper documentation for the trailer in the inspection book, which this one does. It has all the proper documents. We'll then close it back up, put it back. We will then come to the truck again. Hook our airlines. We will then hook our airlines up. on the blue side, which is called a service line. Red will go on the red side, which is called the emergency line. The red line supplies the air to the trailers. The blue line is what activates the brakes. We will then come up and grab our power cord. Make sure it's not all tangled with everything. We will then hook up the power cord. It can only go in one way. It's got a directional plug. Once we have it hooked up and all in place, then we'll go back to the truck and we'll activate the air from the trailer. You'll make sure the truck brakes are still set. Now you'll push your red knob in, which activates the air in the trailer. It takes 3 to 5 minutes to completely air up a trailer. So in the meantime, we'll check the reefer. We'll come over to the reefer. We'll step up on our deck. We'll open the reefer doors. There again, we'll check our belts, our hoses, look for any fluid leaks. We'll check the oil, make sure the oil's good. To check the water on this particular unit, we would have to climb all the way to the top. Our shop does maintain that, so we're not going to worry about that today. We'll then close it all back up. Make sure the doors are secure. We'll get back down. This is a pretty simple unit here. It has a stop, a run, and a start mode. It also has an auto start mode. We'll just flip it up to start run. We'll be patient for a few minutes. It will go through all of its own cycles and it will self-start on its own. Like I said, glamorous job. Once it's not where it's supposed to be, we'll get to the set point. We'll adjust it up or down, whatever it needs to be, and then we'll fix it. At this point, we'll actually turn on all the lights. And then we'll do a visual walk around. On our trailer pre-trip, you'll see that there's sides of the trailer rode up here. This is for checking for damage on the outside of a trailer. So we're going to start here at the front of this unit. The front part of this unit is pretty clean, but all the way up there at the top there, it's been hit and smashed before. So we will mark an X there, showing that there's damage. We'll then start to walk around the other side. We'll see there's damage on the top rail on the left side. We'll mark it that there's damage. Down in the middle there's also damage. Down at the bottom there's damage. This is all part of your safety pre-trip. We'll then check our first light, which it is working. We'll then come back here to the landing gear. We'll check it, make sure it's all secure and everything. We then will raise the landing gear up. Landing gear has a 2-speed mechanism in it. If the trailer is heavily loaded, you would have it low gear. Once the trailer, you release some of the pressure, you pull the landing gear out. Now it has a high speed, and you can raise the landing gear on up. Up in your place, pull your handle, and secure your handle. We will then check the fuel level. This trailer here is approximately 3/4 of a tank. We will write that down here. Fuel 3/4. We'll then check the fuel lines, make sure they're all good. Visually inspect cross members on this side of the trailer, make sure that they're all good in place. We'll then walk down some more, looking at the top of our trailer at the bottom. This trailer has had a lot of war damage. It's got some other problems that I don't want to be responsible for. So we'll mark some more damage. About straight up from the fuel tank, there's a couple of lines at the top. Midway back, there's damage on the side rail. We'll mark it. And some other damage up the sides. We'll just kind of make some marks on it. We'll then walk back towards the trailer some more. You're always going to miss some things, but you try to catch your major problems. We'll look at the top of this trailer. It's got some other damage. And we'll mark them up. We've now come to the tires on the trailer. We'll do the same test with the trailer that we did on the truck with the hammer. Take your tires, make sure that they have air in them. We will then check the suspension of the slide handle. We'll check the air hoses, make sure they're not tangled and are in good shape and you hear no air leaking. We'll then step in, kind of look at the springs, make sure the springs and suspension is still in good shape. No oil leaking or anything. Kind of look at the surface of the tires, make sure that they're safe. We then will come back, we'll look at the lugs on the trailer, make sure they're all tight, no bleeding of rust from a loose lug or anything. We'll check the hub oils, make sure the hub oils are good, which this one is fine. We'll then move back. We'll do the other tires. If these tires are fine, we'll look at the spring suspension again, make sure it's fine. We'll then repeat, look at the lug nuts, look at the oil level in the hub, make sure the oil level is good. We'll then look at the side of the trailer again. This trailer has a little more damage on the bottom side of it. So we'll mark the damage on the side by the tires, and then we'll move back for some more. Check the door latch, make sure the door latches are good. There's some more damage there. We'll put a little X there for that damage. There's some severe damage on the tail of this trailer where it's hit a loading dock pretty hard. We'll just put a big X there because it's a pretty big damage. We'll then walk around and look at the back side of the trailer. We see there's some more damage in the back. We see the lights and the blinkers are working fine. We'll see the upper marker lights are good, but there is damage up on the top of this trailer. We will mark it. We also see that there's damage here on the bottom. We'll mark it, and right below it. And that damage once again on the top. We then will open the trailer doors. And always be careful if it's a loaded trailer. Never stand behind the door, always stand in front of the door. So if there's anything falling out, it doesn't hit you as it comes out. You open your trailer door on up. This trailer has numerous old damage on that there. I'm just going to write inside trailer various damage because there's just too much to know. Once I've inspected that, I'll close my doors back up. Visually check that I have a license plate. The license plate light does work too. Check my other lights. Then we'll come around to the other side. Visually look at this side. It's got some slight scratches in the side. I'll just put some light notes that there's scratches on the side of this trailer. And then we'll come up to the tires. We'll check the tires again for air. We'll check the anti-spray mud flap devices, make sure they're in place. We'll check the tires and wheels on the lug nut tightness and oil levels again, make sure they're good. We'll visually inspect the springs again. We'll check these tires. We then will come around and check these lugs again and oil levels. We'll then look up at the sides of the trailer again. Looks pretty good. My light works. Come up, it's got some minor scratches. We'll mark the minor scratches. About this pin. We'll come up here, we'll check the landing gear again. We'll then look under the trailer again for any loose cross members. Make sure all the cross members are in place. Cross members look fine in this trailer. We'll come up to the front of the trailer, we'll see there's a little bit more damage on this trailer. This side, and we completed a trailer inspection.
That's trailer pre-trip inspection essentials.
The key thing is if you do this daily, there's never a major problem.
Right.
A quick, simple inspection every day, a pre-trip and a post-trip, you will find any major problems before there ever a major problem.